thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.
All right, not the innings that the Delhi Capitals would have wanted, especially when there's so much more to play for. At one stage, 4 for 29 inside the power play, another 5 for 30 odd just outside. And we thought they might be bowled out, but a couple of 41s from Ashutosh and Tristan Stubbs give them something, 1-3-3. We find out why that happened. On Nexa presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Martin, Aaron, Silgardo will explain. Take it away, Katey.
Well, firstly, what a good toss to win. The wicket was slow. It was really slow, but I thought the way that the pace bowlers set it up, Pat Cummins was outstanding at the top. They just had a good, consistent length, and they didn't go away from that. Wicket, the first ball, obviously helps as well, but the pace bowlers were outstanding, and then it meant that he was able to find the 4 overs out of the spinners that he needed to through the middle. But I thought Delhi, they come back well in terms of that partnership, but I guess their focus was how much is going to be enough to try and bring our two key pace in terms of Stark and Kuldeep in terms of to try to defend that total.
Not an easy surface, and a batting team just not assessing it at all. We've seen this movie before this season. Was it that for you as well?
For sure. I don't think they assessed it. Even after they lost a couple of wickets, KL Rahul really is one of the master rebuilders of an innings. He failed to do that today. But even after that, I think the batsmen could have applied themselves out of the 6 overs as well. But kudos to Sunrisers. They've really got their bowling together today, especially on a slow wicket. I think their fast bowlers really suit a slow wicket.
Dustin, what did you quietly check last minute over there? Start with that.
I was just looking at like how many attacking shots they played. They didn't actually play that many attacking shots in the power play. So, I mean, but every time they went for an attacking shot, it looked like they lost a wicket. So they lost most of their wickets to attacking shots. And then, yeah, I think it was just, it's difficult to tell whether it was, the wicket was that slow or the batting wasn't that good. It was mostly, as Katey was saying, those hard length and length balls that took most of the wickets, and the control percentage against those shots wasn't great. Those lengths wasn't great.
I think that's an indication of the wicket with the balls just slightly holding up. When they did look to go for it, there was, I think, a couple of dismissals caught behind. There was going across the line out in front in terms of shots like that as well. So that would indicate that the ball was just slightly stopping on the batters. And when on a slow wicket that's maybe too pace and doesn't come on as much, when you really are playing those attacking shots, that's when you can get yourself into trouble.
Yeah. What did Pat Cummins do right, though?
Get a wicket first ball, for starters. when you do that, oh my God, it's raining.
Yeah, it was. We don't need to see that. Yeah. Let's go back.
When you get a wicket first ball as a fast bowler, that's something which really gives you a lot of confidence. You can like let loose and do whatever you want. You feel you got that license. But yeah, 4 overs, 14 dots, 19 runs, that's a dream spell, especially after the previous game.
You want to carry on anything that Cummins did right over here?
No, I just thought he was consistent and they didn't go away from their plans, and I think that's what's happened in the past. A couple of attacking shots, they go away from their plans. I thought he just had that control on the ball today, and they just had enough subtle adjustments in terms of wobble. There was enough, I guess, variation off the wicket just to go from the middle of the bat to the edge of the bat.
I'm also trying to think here. I mean, it's funny. Mohammad Shami would be sitting out and saying here, they've obviously left me out on form. I'm not bowling well. The one game that he isn't featuring, we're wondering what are their power play plans. And they get 4 wickets, and Unadkar's gone at 3s, and Pat Cummins has gone at 4s. Sometimes it's the difference of leaving a bowler out of form out. Do you think if Shami was in today, that it would have been any different?
I think their current bowling lineup, especially with Unadkar and Harshal Patel and Pat Cummins, they're more suited to do better on a slow wicket, because especially Unadkar and Harshal Patel have a really good slow ball. And they rely a lot on it. But Shami, his main strength is obviously seam up, getting the ball to move. And like I said, when Shami is not getting his run-up right, he's half the bowler. Okay,
let's get into why they still managed to get some kind of recovery. That partnership, what was it again, Dustin? 241s over there. There's Tristan Stubbs and Ashutosh Sharma. Was it just easier to play the spin of Zishan Ansari? Sometimes we always wonder why on slow wicket spinners aren't as effective.
I would say and wonder, why aren't they playing Rahul Chahar? I mean, he's historically been a really good bowler for most of the teams he's played for Punjab, for MI. It really baffles me why they left him out this year. And I mean, I would love to get some inside info. Raunak, you can call up your people on the inside.
All I've heard from whoever I have, via, is that they just don't believe Rahul Chahar is bowling at his best in training.
Really?
Yeah. And if Zishan is bowling to certain plans and bowling to what they want their spinner to play the role he is, and it doesn't seem to be happening to Rahul Chair. That's all I can sort of say. I know he's fit.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Interesting. Must be a frustrating season for him.
Surely. But anything on whether...
It was a different type of innings from Tristan Stubbs, wasn't it? Because I'm just looking again at the stats. There's only 12 aggressive shots attempted in the middle overs. Most of that, I think, was actually Vipraj. And Stubbs just seemed to, decide, okay, I've got to stay there till the end. And so he showed that he's got, a different side to his game where he kind of just stayed in and then went hard at the death.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I think it was the 13th over that run out happened, and then a couple of overs after that, that was the over that Ashutosh targeted. He said, I felt like the fact of being able to attack the leg spin was the best option to try and get boundaries, and I think he took, 15 off that over, something along that line. But I think from a Stubbs perspective, his role was how do I get to the end? And I think there would have been conversations of saying, what's a bare minimum score we feel we can get from this position that we're in? And I mean, ideally you want 160, 170, but after being 4 down for 26 in the power play, it was around how you could just build an innings, get a score that gives you bowlers a chance.
So this is where I think we can bring in Ashutosh again, as how much these decisions can at times play on the minds of other batters and their own approach. Let's say you name Ashutosh in a batting 11. He obviously comes in ahead of Vipraj. And then the two of them can bat knowing there is still Vipraj and Stark to come. Here you've played the Ashutosh card after a Vipraj. It may have lent into Stubbs' different innings.
Not only do you know that Vipraj and Stark is to come, but you can actually then in an emergency use the impact sub for yet another batter, right? Because you would still have 5 bowlers. You could get in Samir Rizvi, for example.
Correct.
If he was suddenly 7 down in 14 overs.
100%. If you can then say, right, it doesn't matter if we are a half a bowler short, we only have 5 bowlers. At least we have a 150, 160. But yeah, that's, again, when you want to think about the luxury, and it is a luxury of 7 bowlers, do you leave your batters perhaps a little bit short?
Potentially. I mean, I think they just found the wicket challenging to bat and they didn't adapt quickly enough. And so you don't want to bank on just holding people back and that mindset. You have to do what your role is, and it's a bonus if there's an extra batter. I think they probably held out going harder at the end, knowing that Mitchell Stark was that next batter in, and they felt like they needed to do the job as a batting unit.
And now let's get into how much of this slight disappointing batting effort is to do with changes. Karun Nair at the top, Akshar bats a position lower, all the other things. You said you'll talk about Karun after another innings.
Yeah, I mean, see, like I said, when you suggested that change, that was a good suggestion, but I really felt at that point in time that would be too much change, because Delhi have already been chopping and changing a lot of opening partners. They've been moving guys up and down. Karun's gone up, he's gone down. KL's gone up, gone down. When there's so much of change within a team, people never really get settled into one role. They never know what their roles are. So I feel something like that can also contribute to a batting performance like this, because if you had, for example, Porel facing first ball, it might not have happened at all. Could have happened, but might not have happened.
I mean, I found it curious that they went with the Karun Nair and they still played a Porel. If you're changing your opening pair, I can still understand that. But then Porel has to make do on the bench, and then you have a different kind of balance to your team. But yeah, it didn't seem like the changes reflected well on anybody. Is this a team that's perhaps a little bit under pressure, perhaps? Delhi, and that's resulting to the decisions and changes and whatnot.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's look ahead. 1-3-3, if the wicket is slow, you still think it's something. Now, will torrential rain quicken that wicket up? Because that is what we're witnessing now as we have this conversation. It's not just a little drizzle or a passing shower. It is raining buckets in Hyderabad.
And there have been messages coming through on comms before that, 30 kilometers away from the stadium, it's raining really hard. So it looks like the rain's reached the stadium now, which is...
What else is coming from comms? Is there also when it's leaving? Is it going? Is there any wind? Yeah, but it doesn't look good right now. Let's actually throw this into an interesting discussion here. A shortened game versus a no result. And then suddenly would a 1-pointer actually be a win for Delhi, even though they came here knowing that this is a 2-pointer for them. They need 2 points. Would they be happy with a no result or even a shortened game?
After that batting performance, for sure they'll be happy with 1 point. I mean, any team would, because I feel that wicket they should at least got 170. But I would say if there was a normal game, 133 would have been game on. I'm not saying a good score, but if Stark did Stark things against Sunrisers, got maybe Travis or Abhishek out, get in the spinners.
Yeah,
you never know.
What what are the likely calculations? I'm just having fun here. But for a 6-over game, 133, normally if you've gone at 6.5 and over, in a reduced game, you tend to get a 7-8 run and over, or maybe at least a 2-point difference if I'm just going by a random figure here. If you get 160 at 8 and over, 6-over game usually means you need 9.5, 10 and over. You know, that sort of calculation usually comes.
Shortened game, Sunrisers are winning.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the last team you want to play a shortened game against.
However, Mitchell Starc will still hope to make a game out of it somehow. Let's hope they get back on the field. And he does have Travis Head as a favourable matchup, doesn't he, Katey?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You want those bowlers to be able to bowl as much as they can. So if it is a rain-reduced game, which we assume it will be now, it means it takes that threat slightly away. So potentially that they are a couple of overs that they can sort of back off a little bit and then really take on the other bowlers. But for me, Starc has to get wickets. Whether he's going to get some swing early because of the fact of those conditions or not, that remains to be seen. And I think we're going to have to see a little bit. We're going to have to see a bit of this and get it both ways. Yeah, we're going to have to see him.
Starc, you got a ball in hand. Do you want to tell us what you think?
I thought now we've got a pace bowler and a keeper. We've got the two most intelligent people going around. But the delivery that Stark's danger, I mean, I'm going to try and bowl left-handed here, but his one is around his seam position, swinging away like that. Now, the ball that he got Travis Head at was actually his wobble ball. And so for him, what he does is he holds his fingers across the ball like that. And that's where you can get it, the ball going that way or that way. And I think on the wicket, this is something that he's going to use quite a lot more. Now, in terms of the education on that, you'd probably be able to explain this better than me. But as a seam bowler, if the ball naturally goes away like that, you put the seam in the opposite position. So that's what the crucial part is in terms of a wobble ball. Now, what you see Hazel would do as an example, he might be more, if I use my right hand, he sometimes has the grip fingers like that. Yep. He sometimes has it like that, but he's actually got it like that at the moment. So he has that middle finger is sitting on the seam, and so he can get those natural bits. So I think that wobble seam there, that Mitch Starc is more than likely to bowl against Travis Head to have that ball come back in. Whether he wants to go short in terms of this particular wicket, we'll have to wait and see. But there's an education on wobble seam delivery.
100%.
Love it. Anything to add?
What do you want me to add to it? I think Katey's really hit the nail on its head. But yeah, on a wicket which is slower, it's better to use a wobble seam because it obviously gives you that variation in pace as well. Because when you go seam up, more often than not, the pace off the wicket will be pretty much equivalent to what the batsman feels it's coming from the hand. But when it's wobbling, especially when it's going like this, there's a bit of extra revs on the ball because when you bowl with the wobble seam, you're actually pulling really hard on the seam this way, and you don't get the same traction when you're bowling with the seam up. So that just gives more revs on the ball, and you get a lot more deviation off the wicket and also pace difference off the wicket.
You want me to demonstrate anything? How to bowl the ball that slips out of your hand and lands behind you?
I knew you'll add some comic relief if nothing else. I must say though, can I have that ball, please?
How can we leave Coach Raunak out of this?
No. I can just tell you that this is what bowlers like Varun Aaron used to do when they try to get some reverse swing on the other side. Just some wear and tear, all within the ambits of the law, I'm sure. Yeah, well, you can see the other side's like, this is shiny and this is like unplayable. Anyway, brilliant. I'll tell you what Jaydev Unadkat has said. He said that looking at the pitch, the plan was to bowl into it and hit the deck. We realized that even after the first over, basic plan was to hit the deck and vary the pace, which is also the strength of a lot of our bowlers. Getting those wickets at crucial times was important, and it helps us stop runs as well. From what Jaydev says he saw at the end, the wicket got better. At the start, it looked like it was stopping, and these little drops of water, I think when he was talking, they were only little drops of water, might actually help. And their batters should be pretty confident of chasing this down. Right, let's assume we do get a game sometime soon, and I'm sure we're still a long way away from any overs cut. You're not
Great
seeing the pictures. You're not seeing the pictures that we're seeing now, folks. But what we're seeing are live visuals from Hyderabad, where it is pelting down. So let's hope we get some cricket, and when we do, we'll be back. And if we don't, we'll still be back and discuss the ramifications of what could be another set of shared points in the IPL. Rivalry week, or rather playoffs week, is essential for the chances of Delhi more than anyone else. So Katey, Varun, Dustin, well done. Classroom dismissed, and we shall resume at the end of proceedings at Hyderabad today on Nexa Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Do join us then.
ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.